Hello students, in this lecture we're going to be talking about the string class in Java. What you're going to learn is what strings are in Java and how to use them, as well as how to use some of the string methods to manipulate a string of text. At the end of the lesson you'll be expected to write a program that combines two user input strings, prints out how long each string is, breaks those strings into pieces, and then searches them for some text. So let's get started. So what is a string? A string in Java is a string of characters. You may also think of it as text. It can contain letters, numbers, spaces, characters, pretty much anything you can type on the keyboard. Now, Java treats strings differently than numbers. A string is an object rather than a primitive like an int or a double. We talked about those primitive types earlier in earlier lessons. The differences between objects and primitives is a little bit too advanced for us right now at this stage in the course. Stick around, you'll learn more about that later. But the bottom line is basically that primitives like ints and doubles are processed faster than objects like strings. And there are certain things that you can do with objects that you can't do with primitives. So they have some definite advantages on both sides. So let's get down to it. How do I create a string variable and print it out? So there's a long way and a short way. Here's the long way in a fully worked out class example. So you can say string str, so that's the name of the variable, equals new string, where I actually have the whole complete word string with a capital S and the parentheses at the end. This is going to create a new string object right here and store it in the variable, store it as a variable str. Then in this line right here, str equals double quote good morning double quote, and then I print it out. System.println str, and we look at the output run there. That's just going to print out good morning on the output. So if we wanted to, we could copy this, paste it, and run that over here. We will compile, save it, run it, and you can see it says good morning. And we could change this to good afternoon with an exclamation point, compile, run it, and we get that new message. So this text right here, I would say technically it's string, but anyway, it's being stored in str. Is there a shorter way? Yes, absolutely. There's a shorter way. You could actually combine those two lines and just say string str equals and then your message. This one says good morning Dave, and then you could print that out. So I'm not going to bother copy and pasting it there, but there you go. This is a way that you can declare and initialize a string variable all in one line. Can you combine strings? Absolutely. You use what is called the concatenation operator, but you pretty much know that as the plus symbol. So let's look at this code right here. So we have string str1 equals I'm walking. String str2 equals double quotes with just it's actually a blank space there. String str3 equals on sunshine, comma, whoa. And then string str4 equals str1 plus str2 plus str3. So it's literally going to take all those. You might say, whoa, plus, how do you add strings? Well, you literally just put one right after the other. So it's going to be str1 plus str2, which is the space, and then the on sunshine, whoa. So when we print out str4, this is what we get, everything all together. Alright, so that's combining strings. How do I find out how long a string is? Well, you're going to use the length method. You can access this by typing a period, then the command length, and you will do this after the string variable. This method returns an integer equal to the length of the string. So this is a fully worked out program here. You can copy and paste this. This says string str1 equals yes. Then we have int len1 equals str1, so that's the variable, dot length. And so what this will do is it figures out how long is this string, and as it turns out it's 3 letters, it's 3 characters. So we'll skip on down here to this line, system.println len1. Well, len1 is whatever that length was, so it's 3. Then we have str2 equals no, len2 equals str2.length. So the length of this string was 2. When we print that out, we'll see a 2. And then we have str3, which says maybe, maybe not, get its length. And I think if we actually count every single character, so the comma counts, the spaces count, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Made it. So 16 is the length of that string. That value is getting stored in len3, and we can see that printed out right there. Feel free to copy this and then paste that, but that's a fully worked out example there. Can I combine a string and a number? Sure. So if I say int age equals 13, and then I have a string which I'm going to call rating equals the text PG plus that number, it actually is going to smash them together, and now it's going to equal the string PG13. No space, because there's not a space right there, and it doesn't do anything weird like try to add the 1 and the 3 to the P and the G or whatever. So just smash it all up. So that's what strings are. That's how to combine them. Let's talk about splitting up a string. Can you split up a string? Absolutely. We can do all kinds of stuff. And we're going to do that with the substring method. There are actually two versions of the substring method. One of them, if you see right here, has two parameters. That's this one has a piece of information here that it's going to require and a piece of information here. And the other one has one parameter. If you remember from previous lessons, the parameters have two words in here. The first word tells us what's the type, and then the second word tells us like what its local name is. Sort of a helpful identifier here. So the index or position. So before we talk about, like this goes from to whatever, and here's this says return substring beginning at from and ending at 2 minus 1, and this one right here return substring from and then length. And that's not really very helpful, I found out. So let's go ahead and dig into this a little bit deeper. So we need to talk about an index of a string. So every and before I read this sentence, we'll skip down here to this. So let's just say that we were talking about the string watermelon. Well, every character is associated with a position or an index. And in Java, and pretty much every computer programming language, the string index starts counting at 0. So if we were looking about the watermelon string, the W is at position 0, the A is at position 1, and so on. So let's talk about substring with two parameters. Okay, so that's right here where we have to have two pieces of information with a comma in between them. It will start at the index of the first number and stop one less than the index of the second number. Starts at the first number and stops one less than the second. So let's see here. So looking down at this example, we have fruit.substring 0, 5. So if I were to say fruit.substring 0, 5, then we would start at 0 and end right before 5. So end there at the 4. So fruit.substring 0, 5 is going to give us the text WATER. Fruit.substring 5, 10 will start at 5, index 5, and end just before 10. So 10 is right there, so it will end at 9. So it's going to be MELON. All right, stop one less than the index of the second number. So there's, if you remember up here, there was another version of the substring method which just requires one piece of information, one parameter. And the way that one works is it goes from that parameter, from that index, all the way to the end. So if I were to say fruit.substring 6, then that means start at position 6, start at index 6, and go all the way to the end, which would be ELON. So here we have all of that information sort of in a nice program here. So I say string fruit equals watermelon. System.println fruit.substring 0 to 5. Then print fruit.substring from 5 to 10, and print fruit.substring 6. So what this does right here, this command, looks at the fruit variable, looks inside and says, okay, I need to get a piece of it, a substring of that. And as we noted up there in the example, from 0 to 5 is going to be the WATER. So this expression right here evaluates to water, WATER, and that's what gets printed out. This expression right here, fruit.substring from 5 to 10, is going to evaluate to the melon, or melon. And fruit.substring from 6 is going to be the elon, or the elon, if you want to think of it like that. And that is what gets printed out. Alright. So we've got search. I feel like we skipped one here. Oh no, we didn't skip the length. We talked about the length earlier. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know I was going to mention. There is a part where most students get confused between the length and the substring, and that relates to the position or the index. If you'll notice, just going back here, like the watermelon, it goes from 0 to 9. If we were to actually talk about the length of this string, it would be 10. There's 10 items, because if you count the 0 letter all the way up to the 9, so that's going to be 10. There's 10 letters altogether, so the length of this is 10. However, the index that is the highest is 9. Okay, and you can think about that going back up here to the length. So the length of this string is 3. The length of this string was 2. However, if you think about the index numbers, the Y has an index of 0, the E has an index of 1, and the S has an index of 2. So the highest index present is 2, though the length is 3. On this one right here, the length was 2, because there's 2 characters, the N and the O. But those indices, the index values present, are 0 and 1. And so the highest value index is 1. So if you think about that, the highest value of index that is going to be present is always going to be 1 less than the length. I'll say that one more time. The highest index that is present is 1 less than the length. We can see that sort of right down here. The highest index present is 9, and the actual length of this is 10. There's actually 10 characters. So I'll let you kind of think about that. Last item, I think. Is this the last one? Yeah, search. Let's search a string. So the index of method allows you to search a string for another string. Index of will return the index of the first occurrence of that string, and it will return -1 if the string you are searching for is not in the string you are searching in. We will see examples of this momentarily. If there is more than one occurrence of the string you are searching for, index of just returns the first occurrence. And there's also a 2-parameter version of index of that will start searching the given string at a certain index. I have an example of that down here. So let's go ahead and look at the following code that searches for the index of various single letter and 2-letter strings inside the string friends forever. So if you look at the phrase or the string friends forever, we'll do a little bit of analysis. First off, we know that the index always starts at 0, and here we can see that the highest index present is 14. Based on our discussion we had moments ago, we could say that the if I were to say what's the length, and you have to say, think about it, what's the length? 15. There are 15 letters and characters here. You want to include that space right there. So there's 15, but we only go from 0, the indexes go from 0 to 14. Now, let's look at some code. So first off here, I have my string friends forever, and then I say system.println str.index of r. So the way that you access or utilize the index of method is you have your string, then you have the dot, then you type index of. Notice the I is lowercase, the O in of is uppercase, and then we have parentheses, and then inside these double quotes we have the string that we're looking for. So we're looking for an R, and as we go over here, we start from left to right, and there's an R. It's at index 1. So this whole expression is going to return a value of 1, and it gets printed out at 1. In fact, if we look at the output, here we can see that 1 is output. Then str index of d. So this makes Java go through here and look for a D, and there's a D. It's at the index 5, so this expression right here, str at index of D, should return a value of 5. And when we print it out and run it, it actually does. Then str.index of x. Well, there's not an x anywhere in Friends Forever. So the number that Java has, the program has decided to return is a -1 if it cannot find that particular value. Now you might say, why don't they just return 0? And the answer is, well, because 0 is an actual valid location, it's a valid index. That would mean that it was the first letter. So we have to give something that could not, we have to return a number that could not be misinterpreted as an actual real value. And so -1 is a great one, is a great number for that. Let's see. So system.println str to index of f. So Friends Forever. There's actually 2 f's, but if you recall, we are going to Java only returns the index of the first one. So this is going to return 0. In fact, it does. IE. So we see that in this example, we can actually have, beyond just single letter combinations. We could have multiple letters. We could have an entire string here. We could look for the word for, or ever, or forever, or whatever, or ends. We could look for all kinds of things. But here I'm looking for the text IE, and I found it. It's right here. It starts at index 2, and so the number that gets returned is 2. And then this last example is just sort of like a bonus example here, str index of f, starting at index 5. So starting at index 5, so if you provide 2 pieces of information, if you have the string that you're looking for, comma, your starting position, then it's going to start at index 5 and say, is there f there? Nope, nope, nope. Yep, found one here at 8, and it actually will return 8. Okay, so that's everything with strings. Your assignment is listed there. I'll let you read through that, what you are expected to do. And just in reverse order, the things that we talked about was the index of method. We talked about the 2 versions of substring. We talked about how the index starts counting at 0. And we talked about combining strings with the plus. We talked about the length method, which is going to return the actual length of the number of characters that are there. And what else? How to actually create a string. A string str equals, and then you want to put in double quotes. Strings will always be in double quotes. All right. So that is the string class. Hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.